as part of the toolkit, we've provided a number of templates, and one we've just done here is a very simple margin analysis, just so you kind of get the idea. And we've got a lease calculation worksheet, and then we've got some kind of balance sheet comparison. The point of this is to show you how you can use the API to basically pull data into a spreadsheet. So here's a very simple spreadsheet where you just whack together in a couple of hours just to show how you can do an analysis, a net income, a net margin analysis using different companies. Now, one of the things that the way the API works is basically you request information, you say what's the information I want, and then the API will return it to you. It's like you can think of it like a waiter at a restaurant. You make your order for the meal, and the waiter runs away, and they go and make it, or the cook makes it, and it comes back to you, and then you get your meal. So that's what's happening here. And the way that we've put it into these spreadsheets is we've put some, in this case, we'll just put some functions into Google Docs, which allow you to pull that data, and it's very, very simple. So I can walk you through this. The way the spreadsheet, just for consistency, we've put this together as in green is attributes that you can enter. You can see here we've got tick symbols, and then basically when you put a ticker symbol in it, it's like the traditional way that you usually see requests in a spreadsheet that just updates the information related to a particular company. So here we've got Accord Brands, but let's change this. I'm just going to change the ticker to Apple, for example, and then it just updates the data. Now when that data is updating, that's being pulled from the API, so we can have a look at this. There's 5 APIs that we're making available to use, and we're just going to quickly walk through those. So you can take these spreadsheets, you can make a copy of them, and then you can do your own analysis with it. So we have some functions, and you can see these are custom functions that we've put in, same that you'd see in Excel for those who are familiar with Excel. And this is, we'll go through a couple of them. The first one we're looking at here is we have this function that we've written, and basically what it's doing is it's calling the API, and the API is in what's this thing called the URL, which is basically it's just like a web link. And this is the guts of it here. So we can see here it's calling XBRL CIK lookup, and you pass it the ticker, which is in C3, which is Apple. And so what this does, one of the things you want to do, obviously it's very hard to remember the CIK of a company, so we've provided this API. So what this does is you can put any ticker in, and then it'll give you back the CIK. All the data that we're making available is indexed based on the CIK number, not on the ticker. There's a couple of reasons for that. The first is all the data that we have in the XBRL database is basically information about the company. So you can have multiple tickers for a single company. So what this API does is it just resolves that and tells you given a ticker, what is the company. And that will return, and that basically will return the CIK, as you can see here. Then the second call we have that brings back this 58 billion, sorry, is basically something called XBRL values. And this API is basically allows you to pull back, you can put a number of different parameters in. So we look here, we can have a look at what we've got. You can pass it things like the CIK, which we are in this case. You can pass it the period, you can pass it the year, you can pass it how many years of data you want. And there's a whole bunch of fields that you can see here that are described in the function of what you can pass the API, and then it'll pull back various data for you. So in this case, the 58, we're asking for revenues, as you can see here, for this CIK, which happens to be Apple, for the second quarter for 2015. Obviously, you can change these. All of these cells are referencing these values in green. If you change them, then this value will change. So basically, all of these cells here are using this XBRL values API, and it's basically calling all those values so we can get all the values for all those companies. And you can see that you can just copy them across, which makes it pretty easy. Now, one of the things you see here at the front of this is XBRL values requires this URL, which you're passing to the API. In this case, we have at the bottom of the spreadsheet. So if you go and look at this, you'll see we basically have just built it up here. So this is the URL, and this is basically using a couple of parameters, and then we add on to it. But one of the parameters you've got is the API key. To pull any of this data, you're going to need the API key. And if you want to get one, you can go to our website, and then you can basically get that key to pull this data. And then you just pass that as part of the URL, and then when you pass that through, then you request put the parameters in that you want, and it'll pull the data back for you. So if we look at, I'm just going to show you where that key is. On some of these we have a link to it. I'll just show you where that is on our website. So basically, this is just, you're not going to abuse it type limitation, and so we're not going to hold us accountable if some of the data you get back is incorrect. But so you just log in, and then it'll give you a key. You copy that, and then you can paste it into one of these spreadsheets. So that's where you go. That's where you go to get it. So a couple of things about using this. The parameters you pass to the key, you can pass things in a list as well. In this case, you can see for this value here, we've got revenues and sales revenue net. So we're passing both of the, we can pass multiple elements, so you can get multiple elements back as part of a call. So this makes it easy. In some cases, a company will report one part, but they won't report. They may use revenues, but another company may use sales revenue net. So this, what we're doing in this particular spreadsheet, this is a very basic normalization of the data. And we'll just walk to a little bit more of a complicated example just to show you how you can use this. So let's look at margin time series analysis. So this is for IBM. And what we're doing here, if you look at the green, this is parameters that we're providing. The orange is values that have been returned by the API. So all of these are all of this data in orange is being returned based on what we put in green. So you can see if we change it for IBM, if we did the Apple example again, if I change this to Apple, then that's going to basically go to the API, pull all this data, and then pull back the margin analysis over time for Apple in this case. But you can put any ticker in that you want here and pull this data back. One of the things the API does in this case, and this is where Google Docs is a little bit different than Excel. If you look at this cell here, what we're doing is we're saying, for this element, for this time period, for these periods, bring back the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, 2015, and we want 6 years of data, and it's going to go and pull all that out. Now that's multiple sets of data. So what happens when we put this formula in, it'll just populate down the spreadsheet and return multiple rows of data. So that can actually be really, really convenient. So you only have to do one API call, and you can get lots of data back in one sitting. We have some of these functions here are just standard Google Doc functions or similar to Excel. What these do is just sort it, so we get them in a nice sequence. And if you look over here with these values, this is now doing a call to the XBRL values API again, and this is basically calling this and saying, hey, now I've got the periods, go and get me every single value, in this case for revenues, get me all the values for net income loss. This is calculating it. This is a calculation that's being done in the spreadsheet. We put those in gray just so you know what's going on, and then we're obviously charting it. But this is there. You can play with this. Anything in green, you can change these. If you want 7 years of data, it's going to give you, if they've got it going back that far, it's going to give you 7 years going back to 2009, for example. So, and you can. The idea behind this is not, is to basically take these functions and play with them and do different things with them, and you can see what you can do. So I just thought today we'll just go through some simple spreadsheets that we put together, but it's pretty unlimited with what you can do. You can do quite a bit of stuff. So I'll just show you what some of that stuff we've done is, and it might give you some ideas and ways that you can use this information as well.